What's going on, everybody? Shane Sams here from the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast and flippedlifestyle.com, joining you maybe on your lunch break, or maybe it's just later in the day, maybe it's earlier in the day. I don't know what time zone you're in. A lot of issues about money and mindset have come up lately in the community, and we've had a ton of talk about pricing strategies, and this is something that holds a lot of people back. You know, the questions like, what am I worth? Can I really charge this? Should I raise my prices? And we see a lot of people tiptoeing into pricing strategies, tiptoeing up to the wall and getting blocked by that money mindset. We have forums and people post questions in there. And one of the recent questions was from a really outstanding longtime member, and she wanted to start a Patreon page. And for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it is a system where you can get people who consume your content to basically support you, to pay you money without necessarily having to sell them a product. So the value is your free content, and they want you to keep doing the free content, so they support you on this system called Patreon. It's like patreon.com, Patreon, okay? And it comes from the old patrons back in like the Renaissance. You know, you had people like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci and all these people. Well, they didn't get to do all their art and science for free. They had to have a patron. This was usually like a prince or a king or somebody else that would pay for them to do their work. And in exchange for that, they would kind of, you know, give the king value. Maybe they would, you know, find a planet through the telescope, name it after the king's son or something. So Patreon is a way that creators can get paid by the people that consume or use their content. So this member, she wanted to start a Patreon page. And we were like, yeah, go for it. She has a little bit of a podcast audience. A lot of people love her show. She's not really going hardcore into selling stuff just yet. She's got some stuff for sale. But she said, hey, I just wonder if people would support me because a lot of people love my show. So she starts her Patreon page, and we're sitting there doing it. And she finally comes back in and makes the post. Hey, I took action. Hey, I did it. I set up my Patreon page for $1 a month. $1 a month. And I looked at this and I'm like, is that all you value yourself at, is $1 a month? And I just couldn't take it. So I reached out to her with a private message and I said, hey, you know, I really believe you need to raise your prices. You need to charge more because you're worth more than $1. You are worth infinitely more than $1. You are putting your heart and soul into this amazing podcast. And her podcast is about helping parents be better parents, right? It's helping parents, like, you know, get over their insecurities about parenthood and being better moms and being better dads. And like, there could be no more podcast worth any more than that. That's so valuable. And she's really helping people. And I said, you can't do this. You can't just charge $1 a month. That is fear holding you back. That is a money mindset that you're questioning if you're worth charging, if you're only going to charge $1 a month. And I wrote down on the message, I said, I'm challenging you to go into that Patreon page right now, and I want you to change all of that so that you're charging more money. I want you to create different tiers, okay? I want you to charge at least $1 an episode, right? Maybe $5 an episode, maybe $100 a month or whatever. And I challenge you to do that right now. And so this member said, okay, I'll do it. So she goes in and she changes the price. And she sets up all these levels. And I go into the forums today and I see a new post from this member. And she had went in and changed it. And she had created a $100 an episode tier where someone could literally 4 times a month, if they wanted to, every time she hits publish, they give her $100. And within 24 hours of her taking it up my challenge and taking it go in and making it go in there, she got a supporter at $100 a podcast episode. $400 a month if she does 4 podcasts a month, just because she went out there with courage and said, hey, this is what I'm worth. If you want to support me, then do it. She didn't put her bias on anybody else. She didn't assume that somebody couldn't afford that level. She just put it out there, and she gave people an opportunity to do that. And they paid her. They did it. They took advantage of it, all because she confidently broke through that money mindset and said, hey, I'm going to give people the opportunity to support me at this level. And money mindsets hold so many people back from making money online, and especially making a lot of money online or earning a full-time living online. when Jocelyn and I started our business, we were the same way. We were tiptoeing into it a couple months in, like, what should we charge? And, we did the classic, oh, here's my 99-cent ebook, right? I mean, how many 99-cent ebooks do you have to sell before you can put food on the table and pay your electric bill, right? That's a lot of 99-cent ebooks, okay? And then we said, oh, here's our video course. We'll charge $29. Ugh, how many $29 do you have to make? How many courses do you have to sell before you can, buy school clothes for your kids and, pay your Netflix bill or whatever, Like, you can't make a living like that. Even when Jocelyn created an entire year of library lesson plans and started selling that to library teachers, we still were nervous. I mean, Jocelyn put her heart and soul into this business and created like 200 lesson plans, a whole year of lesson plans. And the first time we ever sold it, we charged $79. $79 is all we charged. A year of work, a year of effort, and we charged $79. And then we had a mentor that said the same thing that I'm saying to you right now. You're worth way more than $79. That product is worth way more than $79. And he actually told us to double our prices. Well, as we were coming home from meeting with this mentor, we actually looked at each other and we said, hey, this is worth more than double. It's worth triple, quadruple. This is 5 times more valuable than what we're actually charging for it. So we changed the price from $79 to almost $500, and we sold more copies. And it was the first time we ever made over $100,000 in a single month, all because we didn't do anything different. We didn't create anything new. All we did was change our price. And we said, this is how valuable this is. We value this. And when we value it, you value it. So you pay for it, right? And that's what happened. If you won't value yourself at more money, at a higher rate, then nobody else will either. So you've got to value yourself, what you're actually worth, and you've got to let the marketplace decide if they want to pay it. Once we saw those lesson plans blow up, I looked at my playbook. I was selling this playbook for like $19. And then I thought, wait a minute, if I just record some videos and put them in a community, then why couldn't I charge $199 and then $39 a month to keep access to it? So you had to pay to get it, and then you had to pay $39 a month to stay in it. And we, again, sold more copies, made thousands of dollars, and got all these people paying this membership price for a playbook that I was charging $19 for because it was worth more. And my own mindset was keeping me from seeing the actual value of that. How valuable is a coach going from 3-7 to 7-3, right? How valuable is it for a school to make the playoffs because they use this information? It's infinitely valuable, but I couldn't see it because I was holding myself back. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not worth that. Or another trap is, well, I wouldn't pay that. It doesn't matter what you would pay. It matters what the market will pay. Someone out there will pay you what you're worth if you'll just charge what you're worth. So just like this member did when she came into the community and said, hey, I started my Patreon at $1 a month. And I challenged her to raise her prices, to go raise her value. And within 24 hours, she thought she was only worth $1 a month. And someone said, I'll give you $100 an episode. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you right now to look at what you're already charging for your products and raise your prices. Go raise them 25%. Here's the thing. If it doesn't work, you can change them back. Nobody knows. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's going to remember. You can always change them back. If you're not creating any content right now, you don't know if people are going to give you their time and attention. You need to go create something. If you're not selling anything, but you're writing a blog, doing a podcast, making a YouTube channel, doing Facebook Lives, then you need to go stick a price tag on something, and it better not be 99 cents an ebook, because that is not how you make a living online. And you need to raise your prices, you need to charge more, and you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, my experience is worth something. My life is worth something, and it's sure as heck more than worth $1 a month, okay? So start a Patreon, sell a product, take the things you're already selling and double your prices. I dare you to do that. You're going to see that you're going to get results. People are willing to pay more. And maybe the people who are following you now are not willing to pay the new price. That's easy. Go find new people that are. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You can find 100 people to give you $100 a month, and make $10,000 a month. Okay. If you try to make a living off $1 a month, you're going to have to go find 10,000 people to give you that dollar. Okay. And they're not going to see the value in it, because just like, we take $1, we take something worth $1, like a Happy Meal toy. Where's all your kids' Happy Meal toys? They're in the trash. You know why? Because they're barely worth $1. People don't value things that are that cheap. So you need to charge more. Don't cheapen yourself. Okay. All right. Our next question comes from Darren. Darren says, to have a membership, does the owner host of the membership necessarily have to be the doer or expert of the membership topic? This is a good question. That's a well-worded question, Darren. That's amazing. Example. If you wanted to have a membership for grain farmers and agriculture on learning farming's best practices, I hope this is actually your membership. Please let this be your membership. It's grain farming. I don't think we've got a lot of animals, but I don't know if we've had a lot of grain farmers, and this would be an amazing membership. Could you be more or less the facilitator, bringing experts together with farming members who are wanting to run more profitable farming operations? 1,000 million, 100% yes. Yes, you do not have to be the expert. In fact, I would say nobody is unexpert in exactly what they do. Most of the time, even when the person is positioned as the expert through wisdom and experience, right? It's just them reaching back to people who are behind them. It's not like, I don't have a PhD. There is no PhD in memberships. But if there was, I'd have one, because I've seen so many, right? It's like, I'm not like there's no certified experts, right? But like, I'm just reaching back and helping people with all the examples and things that I've learned, about the process. So same thing here. If you're a grain farmer, agriculture, you're not the expert, you don't really know a lot about it, but you love the topic. Well, you could definitely go and create a situation where it's like, hey, members, once a month, I bring an expert to answer your questions in different areas or different places in this particular niche about grain farming. Hey guys, this week I've got our tractor guy. He knows all about tractors and those big tractors that pull whatever those things are that water the grain, right? That he's going to answer all your questions about that kind of tractor. I have no idea if they actually pull those things with tractors, but I'm just making up an example for you guys right here on this Q&A. So I don't know. But you can definitely do it that way. And many brands that you're probably familiar with have been built exactly like this. I would even argue that people, a lot of podcast hosts out there, this is the exact niche they fall in. Like John Lee Dumas had no experience as an entrepreneur when he launched Entrepreneurs on Fire. We launched our podcast very similar to the same place. I've known John for a long time. When he first started out the first couple of years, he wasn't an entrepreneur. He just got out of the Army. He knew nothing about entrepreneurship, but he interviewed so many famous entrepreneurs. The rub of the expertise went off on him, and eventually he caught up and he was more of an entrepreneur, right? That's how a lot of podcasts happen. That's how a lot of experts are made. And you do not have to be the guy. For example, another thing, I am a U.S. history teacher. I have a degree in history and a master's degree in teaching and education, right? And for 10 years, I was a history teacher, okay? But when I launched ushistoryteachers.com, I didn't want to make all the lessons. So I hired a history teacher. I hired an expert, and I paid them to create lesson plans, which I now own outright because I hired them to do the work for me. And I got all that content. And I hired an expert to create everything. Everything that's consumed in that membership has nothing to do with me. All I do is sell it, right? So no, you do not have to be the expert to run a membership site. You can definitely bring people on if the topic is good. You just have to have access to that network of people to bring it in. Our next question comes from Josh. Josh says, I'm struggling with my email autoresponder automation for webinar signups. Each time I run a webinar, I'm having to manually change the dates. Any advice of how to streamline the process? No, you have to change the dates. Like, you've got to set it back up every single time unless you're going to do it every Friday forever, right? Listen, this is something I've been talking to a lot about with our team and a lot of people that I mentor and even my friends and stuff. Listen, guys, quit looking for the most efficient way to do everything. Look for the most effective way to do everything. Like, that's a barrier to entry, man. Like, it is hard. You can create a webinar and just change the dates every time and send it back out. That's fine, but it takes 30 minutes and you get to go out and create infinite income. Like, that's a barrier to entry that some people won't push past. Some tools are better than others about automation. You can set up multiple webinars. You can change the dates easier in them. But most tools, you've got to do a little work. There's a little manual labor to it. And that's what separates you from everyone else, Josh. That's why you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, and 80% of the people that try this will give up because they can't handle the little tedious task. And like, there are things that we've got to do, like do what doesn't scale. Like, you know what's funny? Anytime Jocelyn and I have ever taken a huge leap in our business, it's because we found something that was annoying and we did it anyway. Or it's we found something that didn't scale and we did it anyway, right? Or we found something that was hard to scale and we did it anyway. Who here has ever received a letter from me or Jocelyn? A postcard, a letter, a note, a happy birthday in the mail? Like you actually got something in the mail, right? Like whoever does that. Well, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, we help each other do that. We have systems in place to make that more efficient. But man, when you do what doesn't scale, nobody can touch you. Nobody can compete with you. Nobody can be as consistent as you. Nobody can be as prolific as you. Nobody can be as relentless as you, because you're willing to say, man, you know what? Dang, I get to have a webinar and get new members, and all I have to do is change the dates. I get to sit here and watch Netflix and change the dates, right? Now, that doesn't mean don't find better tools. I'm not saying there's not a better tool that could do it better, but here's the deal. If all you had to do for the rest of your life was change dates and you added 20 members a week to your membership, wouldn't you do it? You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not like there's a great quote from Clockwork by Mike Michalowicz. Productivity is a lie. Being more productive still makes it's like I'm constantly on this thing for the best tool, the best automation, the best everything, takes your eye off the ball, right? It's like cruise control. Like more people have wrecks at night on cruise control than people who are actually paying attention and pushing the gas because you're paying attention, right? So this endless pursuit of productivity is not right. I'm endlessly in pursuit of what works. I'll roll up my sleeves and I will open my wallet for anything that works. And I think this is a case for that. Now, philosophically, you cannot do that. Like we have a philosophy in our company where we just don't do webinars anymore unless we really, really want to. And we try to do, we actually are like, no, we're an email marketing company. We're going to try to get more emails as best we can with lead magnets, and then we're going to email people. And we are not going to do webinars unless it's really, really important. So if you don't like it, don't do it. Like find another way to promote your business. But if webinars work, open your wallet, roll up your sleeves, and do whatever it takes to make them work. So I don't really have a tip here other than like, don't complain about that. That's awesome. That's amazing that you can have webinars and all you got to do is change the dates. Like when I started doing webinars back in the day, back in 2012, before the webinar jams of the world, see my gray hair? Let me get my old man on the lawn. Let me get off my lawn cap going here. Yeah, see, you know what I'm saying, buddy? But like back in my day, you had to make a web page and you had to embed a video and you had to figure out if it worked. And there wasn't Zooms. There was no Zooms back in my, there wasn't the Zooms back in my day, son. Couldn't get just, back in 2012 to just be able to change the dates, sir. That was more pirate than old man. But I'm going with the analogy, right? Like, yeah, man. So I got no tip here other than suck it up. I want you to have a webinar every week, and I want you to change the dates every week, and I want you to make that your cross that you bear to go get to 100 members, Josh, and it's going to happen. I love it. Okay. All right, we have an anonymous attendee asking a question. Anonymous attendee in the house. How are you doing? I have a blog teaching service professionals on starting their service business, getting them started. What kind of service professionals? I don't know. I'm having some imposter syndrome because I am not actually a professional myself performing this particular service. I am just passionate about this industry and help bring the information into one place to help people start, build, and grow their service business. Is this like house cleaning, pressure washing? Is it that kind of service? Is that what you're talking about? Like home services? You can answer in the Q&A box if you want to as well. But I just want to know what kind of was. It's from Zach. That's who it's from. So Zach, leave me a thing here. It says Zach. I see you signed it now. What kind of service business is this? I am just starting to look into taking the step into creating a membership. I just don't feel like I am cheating people. I don't want to feel like I'm cheating people. I'm not a professional doing the service myself. How can I market this when I'm not the professional in this space? Okay, so it is about services, about cleaning house, doing this, doing that. Zach, what's your background? Like, what's your background? Do you have a background in marketing and a background in services? Maybe not doing the services, promoting the services. Like, what got you into this space? Do you have a family member who you were passionate about? This is going to depend on your origin story. Like, your origin story can totally set you up why you helped for this. Like, for example, Pat Flynn the host of the Smart Passive Income podcast, loved going to food trucks. He was in San Diego. There were food trucks everywhere. And him and his wife were going every day to a new food truck for lunch. They loved food trucks. So he said, you know what? I'm going to start a website called Food Trucker. And I'm going to tell people, I'm going to interview people who are doing the food trucks. And I'm going to talk to them. And I'm going to create courses. And I'm going to tell people how they can get into food trucks. And he ends up having the #1 website on the internet about food trucking. John Lee Dumas, the host of Entrepreneurs on Fire, was not an entrepreneur before he launched that podcast. But what he did was he said, I'm not going to be the expert. I'm just going to be the guy that goes and talks to the experts. And then I will get the rub for that. So John Lee Dumas goes out, starts talking to entrepreneurs every day, asks them the same 5 questions for 5 years, does 2,000 podcasts, and he became an entrepreneur during that process. Right. And everybody goes to entrepreneur. Now he knows all about podcasting. He has entrepreneur courses, sales funnel courses, all this stuff. But it's all because he featured the experts. Right. So if you are passionate about an industry and you're not the person in the industry, you need to use your content to fill the gap. Don't write articles about this stuff. Interview the experts. Go interview people like Jason Guyman, the pressure washing king. He's a member of the Flipped Lifestyle community. He got a huge YouTube channel. He teaches people how to be pressure washers, how to set up their businesses, how to market their businesses. Go out and find the experts and you just be the facilitator, right? Larry King wasn't famous. He interviewed famous people, right? Then he got famous from interviewing the famous people. And you don't have to be the person in the trenches every day to do this. If you're passionate about this industry, you got a good story why you're passionate about it. And then you turn your content into spotlights on the people who are the experts. Then all of a sudden, all your content is coming from the mouths of people who are experts, not you. So there's never a question on why you would be telling this stuff, teaching this stuff, doing this stuff. As you learn from all these people, you can say, well, I've interviewed over 100 industry professionals. These are the common notes. I've made some courses to tell you what I've learned, right? You build your experience, you build your street cred over time. And you don't have to be doing the thing to be the expert at the thing. Jocelyn was a librarian for 3 years before she started elementarylibrarian.com. She was just getting her feet wet as a librarian. I mean, until you're 5 years in, so a lot of places don't even give you tenure until you've been there 5 years, So once she didn't even have tenure yet at her school. And then when she quit, she ran that site for 4 more years. After she quit, she was not a librarian while she was running it. So it's not like she had a PhD from Harvard and being a librarian. But she did it. She learned it. She interviewed a bunch of librarians. She featured the community and let them talk to each other. That's why we build communities. We don't build necessarily just the leader in the front doing everything. Like you guys are the ones that are the star of our community. You're asking the questions. You're helping each other. You're serving each other. You're building the businesses. We're just shining the spotlight on you guys. And if you do it like that, then you can do it. Now, if you walk in and say, I've got this all figured out, even though I've never done it, listen to me, and it's just your voice, you're going to have problems. You're going to have a lot of problems. But if you really are passionate about the industry, you really do have a good origin story about why you're passionate about the industry, and you can turn this into focus the spotlight on your community, the people in the industry, and the experts in the industry, that will never probably be a problem. Like if I wanted to start a website, what was I going to do? Oh, yeah, I got one. So here's a website idea I've got. This is in the idea bucket. I don't think my team knows about this. I don't think Jocelyn knows about this. So I wanted to start a blog about ancient Greek philosophy because I love ancient Greek philosophy. This year, I've been reading so much philosophy. It's been ridiculous. I've just gotten obsessed with all these old dead people from Rome and Greece. And but I've been reading all this stuff and I'm like, man, I'd like to start a blog where I just talk about this stuff. I'd be the most redneck philosopher in the history of the planet. I don't know nothing about nothing. My philosophy from my ancient childhood came from hee-haw. That's where I got all my philosophy from. That's it. Nick at Night TV, black and white reruns, Andy Griffith, and hee-haw. That's the only thing I know about real philosophy in real life. But you know what? I might start a blog about it. I might start a membership about it someday. I don't know. You never know what I'll do. I might start some of that. You know what I mean? I might put a little Garth Brooks philosophy in there, some country music philosophy or something. But I've been reading Seneca, Marcus Aurelius and stuff, and I thought, man, it'd be cool to build a community of people around this somehow. I don't know if it'll work. I have no idea. I'm starting a homeschool site for homeschoolers. I homeschooled for 1 semester and it was a brutal failure and I sent my kids back to public school. But I figured out how to make a product that could serve homeschoolers. So you better believe I'm going to be selling that product on the internet. You don't have to be in it to do it. Okay.
So I need to know how to get unstuck. I need a resource in the blueprint or words out of Shane's mouth on how to best kick me in the rear to get some traction going. I'm suffering from the standpoint of two things. One, almost like a stage fright, like where to begin. Ooh. And second, I'm constantly revising without actually putting it out there. So I'm on like the third or fourth revision of my own
Ray.
product.
Come on now, Ray.
I know. This is just like this is a place I feel like I'm going to get the answer. So I'm just telling you where I'm at right now. So I'm trying to figure this one out.
You know, are you a perfectionist? Are you a perfectionist a little bit?
A little bit.
Sounds like you're procrastinating, actually, not perfectionist.
It's probably I'm a perfectionist who procrastinates.
Exactly right. That's a good way to put that. You can't perfect something until someone else has it in their hands, right? So we've got to put it out there before we can truly perfect it, right? So you got to do that. The stage fright thing is interesting because it's like that judgment. It's like, what are people going to say? The fear of rejection, the fear of this happening, and like it's such a ghost fear. You know what I mean? Like, because we don't know if we're even going to be rejected, right? And I say this to my team a lot. They can back me up on this. Like a lot of times my team will bring to me a thing that feels like overwhelming or a world-ending issue or like someone was mad or this, that, or the other. And I'm like, how big is that problem really? Right? Like if it, and usually it's like, well, 1 out of 1,000 people this week can go wrong. And I'm like, okay, that's 1 out of 1,000 people. Like that's not a real fear. That's just something we're inventing in ourselves. We're going to focus on the 999 or the one, you know? I think that's where you're at. You just got to get this in front of people. Do you have beta testers? Do you have any beta testers of any kind?
Only the firefighters that I work with personally.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, all I can say is that you need to put it on a calendar because the only thing that ever gets done in your life is on a calendar. That's it. You're going to have to put a date on the calendar, and I'm going to challenge you to do that in just about 30 seconds. You're going to have to put a date on the calendar where this is going to go live. And then you're going to have to make it public that it's going to happen. So you're going to have to tell all of us a date where you can release version 4.0 finally to the world. And you got to tell all of us. But then I want you to post it on social media today that it's coming. And or email all the people in your beta group, something like that makes it really, really real. Because I know you have some good online presence you could put it on, right?
Yes.
You have to have some kind of accountability. Also, this is why Jocelyn always pre-sells everything, because the greatest accountability is when someone has given you money. So like getting something out there for sale, whether it's perfect or done or the worst possible version it'll ever be, and someone paying for it is huge, because then you have to go make it better. You have to go create it. You have to go do the thing. So in theory, do you already have everything done where someone could click a link on your sales page and buy it right now? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So what do we need to do to make that happen?
Actually working on it. By the end of today, if the system will be operational to do exactly that. But right now it's not. So
today we're going to make the sales page and make it where people can buy it, period. Doesn't
Correct.
have to be perfect. We're just at least the order form. Okay. All right. Now, I also want you to tomorrow's Friday, I want you to record like a 1-minute video. And all I want you to do is say, hey, it's Ray. I solved this problem and I can solve it for you. And next Thursday, it's going to be available. Make sure you check back here. And I want you to post that little 1-minute video. You can record a 1-minute video. 1-minute video. And I want you to say, next Thursday, we're going to do this. And someone's going to see it. You're going to look and there's going to be a view. There's going to be a like. There's going to be someone in the universe, not in this call, not in this group, is going to see it, right? Now the world knows that this is coming. And then you put it on your calendar Thursday. I'm going to send the email. I'm going to post it on my social with a link. I'm going to post it everywhere. And then we just see what happens. That's it. That's all we do. That's all we do. We see what happens, right? Do it next Thursday morning. That way you've got 2 coaching calls after that to see what happens, right? If nobody does anything, well, guess what? Nobody's doing anything now, bro. Nobody can buy it. So it's the same. You're in the same place. Like it's not worse. Rejection is not worse. It's the same as where you are now. Except when you put it out there and get rejected, there's hope you can actually improve it and get someone to buy it. But right now, there is no hope because it's not out in the world, right? So really, you're in the hopeless place now Instead, I would much rather get rejected and be able to improve out there in the world where there's hope I can fix it than just keeping it right now in this hopeless place right now. So let's get out of hopeless. So next Thursday at 9 a.m., bro, the world knows this link. So all you got to do is make an order form next week. And then now you got in 1 week, everybody going to hold Ray accountable. Shake your heads like this. That's what we're going to do. All right. So we're looking for it, Ray. We're looking for it, man.
Shane, just that 1 minute video is, hey, it's Ray, and I found a solution to a problem. Is that what you had just said?
Yeah. Everybody write this down. Problem, agitate, solve. 1 minute pitch. Okay. What's up, guys? This is Shane Sams, and I figured out how to make my entire living online. Now, listen, I know you are sick of that 9-to-5 job, or maybe you just need a little more money. So what I'm going to do next Thursday is I'm going to drop a link here to tell you all about my solution to this problem, show you how I did it and how you can too. I'll see you then. That's it. Problem, you want to make money online. Agitate, you're not making enough money or you want to quit your job. Solve next Thursday. Click the link. That's it. 1 minute. 1 minute video. Problem, agitate, solve. You can pitch anything in 1 minute, right? Don't make it hard, because if you make it, and you're going to do this, you're going to record it and turn it off, record it and turn it off. Like, no, just like, don't even write it down. Don't even script it. Just be like, hi, I'm Ray. I do X. It helped me do Y. It can help you too. I'll see you next Thursday. And you got it. Just put it out there and see what happens. What advice do you have for those experiencing imposter syndrome? Asking for a couple I see who are wanting more confidence in what they have to offer a community. Okay. Is this an asking for? I'm asking for somebody else, but I'm asking for me, really? Is that what's happening here, Todd? I don't know. But like, imposter syndrome is interesting. I think we have a mindset course about this. I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat, tell me, Carrie. I think we have an imposter syndrome course, so you can go watch that. I'm sure we have podcasts about this as well. But imposter syndrome basically comes from comparison. Right? Comparison is the thief of joy. Like, it will steal everything that you ever do from you. You can never compare yourself to anybody but the day before or the people you serve. Because if you start comparing yourself to other people, you're going to get imposter syndrome. I'm sure there's people out there making $100 million that are better at business than me. I ain't going to compare myself to them. That doesn't help any of my members get to where I am. So why would I ever compare myself to anybody else? So you got to stop doing that. And also, the best way I find for an online entrepreneur to compare to stop being an imposter is to have a well-defined problem that they can solve and have a well-defined avatar that they can serve. If you have those two things, you will not experience imposter syndrome. So I experienced imposter syndrome. You know, I coached college football for a while. I coached high school football for a while, and I became a good coach, an above average coach, I would say. But my first year as a head coach, I was 0-10. I lost every game my first year as a head football coach in high school. It was a disaster, and it took me years to get to the place where we're winning 7-8 games. So when I said, hey, I'm going to put myself out there and start a podcast about coaching football, I'm going to create playbooks that I'm going to sell. If I went out there and tried to convince people that they could win a state championship with my playbook, I would have had imposter syndrome. But I didn't do that, because I said, okay, I know who I am, right? I know what problem I can solve. My problem was I coached at small rural county schools that did not have a lot of speed, or a lot of like really super athletes. Like we had to grind it out. We were blue collar, right? So I had to come up with offenses and defenses that would work in places like that. So I knew I could solve the problem, for example, of how can we play defense when we don't have a lot of speed and we don't have a lot of athletic ability? How do we do that? What kind of playbook would work for that? So I started using a playbook where I had 3 down linemen. That was it. We had 8 of our best athletes on the field, the best we had, and everything was built on running to the football. So we could at least die slowly if we were going to lose, right? So that's what I did, and that's what I sold. And then I knew that the avatar, it was well-defined. I said, I want a coach who has went at least 4-6, had a losing record for the last 2 or 3 years. That's what I want. And I want to try to get that guy over 500. I want to get him to 6-4. I want that person to go home happy more nights or more Friday nights than not. So because I knew the problem I could solve. There was no imposter syndrome. I solved the problem for myself. I didn't have to have imposter syndrome. If you're trying to compare yourself, like if I'm trying to go out there and be Tony Robbins, I'm going to lose because I can't compare myself to Tony Robbins. He's a 6'5" mutant billionaire. Okay, so I can't go to compare myself to Tony Robbins. I got to compare myself to Shane Sams. What's Shane Sams done online? That's what I can go help people with. What's Shane Sams, the coach, done? I can help people with this playbook. And then who's my avatar? If you have there's a lot of mindset that goes into that, but if you know you can solve the problem and you know who you can help solve the problem, why would you have imposter syndrome? I mean, come on, guys, we're adults here. Like, we got to stop this crap. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, you need to stop the imposter syndrome trap. You should be able to look back factually and say, I have solved this problem as an adult for myself. I have helped other people solve this problem. I therefore am not an imposter. And then you've got to go forward with that mentality as an adult and say, I'm going to go help other people do this. So stop comparing yourself to people who are ahead of you. Stop comparing yourself to other people, and go into the trainings and know your idea. Know the problem that you've solved. If you've solved it for yourself, you can help others solve it and have a well-defined avatar. If you do those things, you very well should not be having imposter syndrome at the end of that process.
Okay.
So you got anything else? Or?
Jennifer wants to know, what are your biggest mindset hacks you are using right now?
From a mindset perspective, I think what we usually fall back to is grab the calendar by the throat. Whenever Jocelyn and I need a mindset shift, get positive, get back in the mode, get back in the groove, we try to fill every minute of our 168-hour calendar ahead of time, because that kind of provides us railroad tracks that we can travel down. We try to just stay on track, keep moving forward, never look back, never look left, never look right. That's our biggest mindset trick. And the calendar fixes that problem. I'm telling you, if every Sunday, everyone in this room and everyone in our community would print out the 168-hour calendar and do it by hand, I promise you, you'll make serious progress in your business. So that's kind of our biggest hack that we use to stay on track and stay positive and keep going.
All right. Next question comes from Rob. Rob has a mindset question. He says, how do you keep working hard on your business each day without putting too much pressure on yourself mentally to do so, which can lead to excessive stress? Rob, I would actually say that we don't always do that. I know that it's going to take some amount of stress to grow my business. I know that it's going to be a struggle sometimes to really go out and serve tens of thousands of people on our podcast every week, or to get in here. I know it's going to be stressful when someone asks me a question that I may not know the answer to, and I'm going to have to admit that, right? I'm like, I know there can be stress, and sometimes in occasional sprints, there's excessive stress. But I also know that you can't achieve great things without some stress sometimes. I have accepted the struggle, and I respect the struggle, and I know the struggle is going to be necessary to get to the next level. So sometimes I embrace the stress, right? I embrace it for a limited time so that I can get to the next level. I know that it's part of the game, and I also know it's the part of the game that will make other people quit. And as my competitors fall to the wayside, I will not go quietly into the night. I will go forward into this online business world, and I accept that, right? And I'm going to do that. Now, can we minimalize it? Can we overcome the days we get up and we don't want to work? Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to minimize it and say, oh, you just do A, B, and C and you're stress-free and flip lifestyle, baby, right? Flip lifestyle, all it means is we control our time, we control our money, and we control what stress we allow in. We choose the problems that we're going to solve, where everybody else is living in the moment and being forced to deal with the things that the world are throwing at them. Okay, so there's my preface. Now I'm going to give you some more practical advice. Okay, systems and structure are how, and rules and are how we manage the stress in our business and how we manage what we're working on. We don't try to do everything. Jocelyn and I really like to work in certain hours of the day. I usually kind of quarantine off like 10 to 3 is when we want to work. So we try to fit everything in that nice little package when we can. Our people that work for us, everybody in the Flip Lifestyle community or in the Flip Team FL, like they all control the hours they work. So we try to control our hours, our 168 hours that we live every week, and we try to manage when we do things. And we also manage what gets on the schedule. Like just today, I've been talking to my team for months now about writing this book. and they got mad at me today, and they yelled at me. All of them yelled at me. They got mad. They're mean. That team, they're ferocious. Team FL, man, they just turn on you at will, at nowhere, right? But today they were like, hey, you've got to finish this book. We need to figure out how this gets on the calendar, because the calendar is what really rules your life. So we prioritize what makes it on the calendar. We blocked off Friday in the first quarter every week, and I'm not allowed to schedule anything. I'm not allowed to do anything. That's when I'm going to work on that. So saying no to things getting on your calendar is probably the most practical tip I can give you for not putting so much pressure on yourself. Now, another thing, it was no sugar, not yelling. My team's really nice, actually. We only hire nice people. What I can tell you about the stress from it also too is philosophically, don't be tied to the result. Like we stress ourselves out with expectations are what stress us out. Either expectations from other people or our own expectations that we put on ourselves, right? So I try to be very careful about the expectations that I put on myself, and especially when it comes to like revenue or goals, or I'm going to make X $1,000 this week. I'm really careful with expectations. This is something Jocelyn and I have really explored and learned probably over the last 3 years. Like the expectations we put on ourselves are really, really high sometimes, and especially when it comes to definitive results. So I put different kinds of expectations on myself. Like I tell myself, I want to be consistent, I want to be prolific, and I want to be relentless. But I'm not going to allow those things to say, if I don't achieve X, I'm going to fail, right? Because the second you do that, every time you set a bar that you can't reach, and you're so focused on the outcome, if you don't achieve the outcome, it can crush you, right? But if I know I did everything possible to give myself the opportunity, then the stress doesn't kill me. It's just a part of the journey at that point, right? So focus on opportunity, not on outcome. Focus on systems, not the exact results, and try to just be consistent and prolific. Like go out there and do what you say you're going to do. Do it over and over again until you become better than everybody else. Be relentless, and sometimes things fail, and that's okay. You just go start again, okay? That's how I deal with the excessive stress. The calendar is a big part of it. Do not let anything on your calendar that stresses you out. The minute you find something that stresses you out, kill it and don't do it again. And then accept that there is going to be stress. There are going to be challenges, and it's part of the game. But when you win at the game and the other people quit at the game because they couldn't handle the stress, you're going to be left standing in the end. All right, our next question comes from Ariel. I hope I said that right. That's the Kentucky way. It might be Ariel. I'm going Ariel. That's how I'd say it over here on the back porch in Southeast Kentucky. But Ariel's got a question. She said, had a little bit of loss of motivation lately. Any tips on getting it back? Yes, I have a bunch of tips on getting it back. Number one, I want to tell you, it's okay. It's okay to not be motivated. I mean, I know that when we see personalities, you see me and Jocelyn on our podcast, or you see me on these member calls, and you're like, wow, man, they're always excited. Remember, you only see a snippet of our day. There's plenty of times during the day where we're not motivated. I've been on the road off for 4 straight days. I got home, had a great night last night, but I felt good this morning. Got a little unmotivated. About 11:30, took me a nap. That's the first thing I do when I'm unmotivated. I put my noise canceling headphones in my ear and I fall asleep for 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So a little rest goes a long way, but we all get unmotivated, and it's okay. Like everyone here is going to find times where you're unmotivated. Don't have any guilt, shame, or feel bad about it. Everyone gets unmotivated from time to time. So it's okay. It's okay to be unmotivated. It's just your body and your mind and your spirit telling you to rest for a second. Okay. Now, to get your motivation back, here's what I do. I log into the Flip Lifestyle community and I read success stories. I go to the success story forum and I look at what everybody else is doing. And I say, man, that person got 2 members. Man, that person launched an email. Man, that person did that. And I lean into the community for inspiration, motivation, and to get my excitement back. Right. A lot of times a lack of motivation comes from feeling stuck or not knowing what to do next. So another way to overcome that is to go into the Flip Lifestyle community, go into the forums and ask a question. Okay, guys, here's where I am. What do you think I should do next? And let other people help pick you up. Surround yourself with people. You cannot generate or find motivation sometimes. We have to surround ourselves with great people so that we can help you look for it. right? If you were missing something, you couldn't find your phone, you'd yell out, guys, y'all seen my phone? Right? That's what you do at your house, honey, where's my keys? Like you call for help to help you look for it, right? If your kids get lost, you're like, oh man, everybody head to the woods. Let's go find them, right? Like you'd find a way to do that. So lean into other people, lean into the resources of the Flip Lifestyle community and do that. And also too, man, just get up and move. Just get up and do something. It's like writer's block. A good way to beat writer's block is just start writing. Just write Shane. Just write Bob. Just write, Bob went to, I just start making up gibberish. Like Bob went to the store. Bob went to the thing. And then I'm starting all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm like selling I'm writing an email for my marketing. So, bust through that with just some action. Like, if you're a podcaster, record a podcast. If you're something else, do that. And just take some kind of action, even if it doesn't make sense what you're doing. And sometimes your brain can start locking the pieces into place as you go forward. And don't be afraid to go fire up the Flip Lifestyle podcast. Listen to some of those amazing stories of our community members and find some inspiration and motivation through what other people are doing. I know as soon as we got home last night, I started texting all of my friends in the seminar space, telling them what happened this weekend. And I was like, man, what's how did you guys do? What did you do? And I got a lot of great ideas. Even after on Saturday or on Sunday night, I'd been working all day, speaking 16 hours over the weekend, went out and hung out with another speaker. And we stayed up till midnight talking about what we were doing to just keep getting more new ideas and not stopping. So awesome stuff. Great question, Ariel. And don't feel bad about being unmotivated. It's going to happen. I have learned to expect things like bad days, to expect things like unmotivated days, to expect things to go wrong. Like it's a part of the journey. I know they're coming. So now I embrace them. And I know there's a quote from a philosopher named Marcus Aurelius. He says, the obstacle is the way. Like that is the way. The lack of motivation, the bad sales day, the whatever it is, that's the puzzle. We're looking for the puzzle to solve, right? So it's part of the journey. It's part of the deal. Don't feel bad about it. And I have no doubt you're going to come in here at the next member call, going to be super motivated from reading all those success stories and asking all those questions. All right, our next question comes from Stephanie. Stephanie says, I'm getting started and my biggest hurdle is overthinking and moving way too slow. Okay. How can I restructure my thinking to spend the right time and focus, but not stop because I think I haven't struggled enough already? So the biggest hurdle is this sounds like a cousin of perfectionism a little bit. Like I'm just overthinking it. Like I don't know what the next step is. I don't know what to do. And it really slows me down. And, I'm trying to do the right thing in the right order, but I'm just so afraid that I'm going to mess something up, right? It's like when you put together furniture and you mess it up. A few months ago, my son, all he wanted for Christmas and his birthday was a bed. He wanted a brand new bed. He still had the bed that he got when he was like 3. So it was kind of crinkly and it was kind of falling apart. And we just kept putting it off. And he was like, I just need a bed. I just want a bed. I'm 12 years old now and I need a bed. I've been sleeping on this bed since I was 3 or 5. I don't even know how old it was. He was little when he got it, right? When he got it, he could fit under it. He could walk under it. Now he's like chest high. So he's had this bed for a long time. And we just kept replacing the mattress, but we didn't want to take apart the bed and put on the new bed. So Jocelyn and I decided that we would build this bed with Isaac. We thought, what a great experience. We'll use our hands. We'll put it together. It'll be a team effort. He'll never forget building this bed, right? Because he's wanted it for so long. Well, that, of course, was a disaster. We're sitting up at 1 a.m. We'd started at 9 p.m. We couldn't find a screw. Something was missing. Had no clue. We finally figured out that Jocelyn at about 9:30 had put the wrong screw in the wrong hole, and that's not like her. And we just messed it up. And we spent hours taking the whole bed back apart to put it back together and fix it. And we got the part out of order, right? And that's what we all fear, right? We fear that like, oh, it looks so easy. But if I get one little thing wrong, it can cause me problems. It can make me have a setback. It can hold me back. But the truth is, one, that's always possible. That's a fact. That's the truth. If you, even now, after almost a decade of doing all this, guys, there's times we put things on in the wrong order. There's times that we read the directions wrong. There's times that Jocelyn, I think something's going to work out a certain way and it doesn't. And it's always going to be that way. That's never going to go away, right? That's online business. That's entrepreneurship. That's building a better future for your family, right? We can follow best practices, right? We can help each other to make as few of those mistakes as possible, but let go of the fear. Let go of the fact that there's a way to do it, right? There's a million different ways to do it. And sometimes we're going to get it out of order. We're going to have to back up. We had to unscrew the screw, take the piece apart, back up, find the right screw, fix it, put it back together. And then we got it together. But you know what happened that night? Isaac slept on whose new bed like a baby. It was the best sleep he had had in years. Jocelyn and I went to bed proud of what we had done, and we had figured it out, right? Because that's what the real mission is. The real mission is not to figure out the correct path. It's to figure it out. Eventually, you'll get it right. There's no too slow. There's just your pace. I'm going to go slower or faster than other people, and you're going to go slower or faster than other people. And that's just the way it is, Stephanie. It's going to be okay, right? Now, here's the beautiful thing that you have that me and Jocelyn did not have in the beginning of our online journey. You have the flipped lifestyle blueprint. You literally have a railroad track, right? That we have laid down and nailed to the ground and created the cross ties and put the train on it. And we said, look, start here. Take this video course, do what it says. And when you're done, hit next, and then do that step, and then do that step. And then follow the railroad track all the way through to completion in the flipped lifestyle blueprint. And if something happens on that railroad track that doesn't quite maybe apply to your exact situation, don't worry. You've got the flipped lifestyle community forums where every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can log in and you can ask a question. And not only will our team and us rally around you to help you find the answer to your unique situation, but you have hundreds of family-focused entrepreneurs from around the world who are pursuing the exact same dream that you are, right? So if you jump into the forums, you can ask questions anytime. But most of the time, you're going to be able to follow the path, get pointed in the right direction this week, whatever course you're doing, and just take action on that step. And don't worry about next week. Don't worry about last week. Just focus on the step you're on right now. Don't focus on too fast, too slow, too hot, too cold. This ain't baby bear's porridge. That's not what we're looking for right here, people. Right? There ain't no just right. There's no baby bear's porridge in online business. Put that on a t-shirt with a little bear, a little teddy bear, right? You've got to just go at your pace, and you've got to achieve your dream. And we've got to help you with your unique circumstances. But 80-90% of it is right there in the flipped lifestyle blueprint. Okay. So yes, let go of the overthinking. You can overthink this to death. You'll figure it out if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and use the blueprint and use the forums and follow them down the railroad track. And you'll be surprised at how far you get and how fast you get there. All right. Our next question comes from Joseph. Joseph, what if we don't believe we have skills someone would pay for monthly? You have God-given talents and abilities and skills, but more importantly, you have life experience, man. I don't know how old you are, Joseph, but I'm going to guess that you are not just born, because you are here and you are typing, and a newborn cannot do that, right? You have probably been on this world for 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 years, right? All that wisdom, all that life experience, all that adds up to something amazing that you can use to serve somebody else. Like, what questions do people ask you all the time to get help with, right? What discussions have you been in where you saw somebody, I can't do this. Here's how you do it. Oh, thank you. That's what you're looking for. This doesn't have to be Elon Musk putting rocket ships on the moon. I coach terrible football coaches how to run football plays with terrible players. I wasn't even trying to win a state championship. I didn't even try to help them win a district championship. I just tried to help them go home happy more Friday nights than not. Like this, I was an 0-10 head coach, man, and I sold playbooks. My first year as a head coach, dude, I was 0-10. 0-10. And then the next year, it was 8 wins before I finally got the first one. And then I figured out how to win 3 games. Then I figured out how to win 5 games. Then I figured out how to win 8 games. And all of a sudden, life wasn't so bad, right? Like that's what we're looking for. You should always lean more into wisdom when you're looking for your ideas. And you should always lean more into interest and things you love and like than you do this exactly what you're trained and perfect. And this is the skill that someone gave you a piece of paper to hang on your wall to do. I would bet anything. I've not been wrong on this one many times, guys, maybe once or twice. If you go into the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint and you watch our idea training that is designed to help you find and use your God-given talents and life experience to start, build, and grow a membership site, you will find something. There will be a spark there. That doesn't mean it's the one that's going to work, but it does mean it's the first one you're going to try. And there's also a course in there that will show you exactly how to quickly research it to say, hey, not only do I have this ability, not only do I have this life experience, but this person over here is already on the internet making money with something similar. That means there's a pie. And where there's a pie, I can get a slice of the pie, right? So don't fall into the trap of thinking you have no skills or no life. If you are breathing and you are alive, you've got something you can tell to somebody else, man. It's and here's the example. Then somebody says, okay, fine, Shane, I've got a skill, I've got a life experience, I've got some wisdom. True, okay, but who's going to pay me for it? Somebody who needs help, right? If you're broke down in the desert and you've got a flat tire and you cannot walk to the next town, and somebody drives up and says, hey, I know how to fix that tire, but it's going to cost you $25. You're not going to look at that person and say, could you show me your Goodyear mechanics license? Are you a welder? Do you know how to weld? Because I need someone who knows. No, you're going to be like, fix my tire. Take my money. I'm getting out of here. I'm thirsty, right? And someone out there is thirsty, not just for your knowledge and your life experience and your wisdom. They're thirsty for your personality. They're thirsty for the way you say words. They're thirsty for the way you look and for the family you have, or the life you live. And like, that's what you're looking for. It's more about your personal brand and how you present the information than the information itself. I don't know if Pip's still here, but Pip's in here. He's one of our partners of this amazing live event company we're working with. And I interviewed him for my podcast today. And we had this conversation, man. Information's free. Anybody can find information. All the information that you could ever come up with, that you could ever experience, that you could ever consume is somewhere on the internet. So people are not just looking for information. They're looking for you. And that's what makes it happen. So, all right, man. Great question, Joseph, man. You're not the only person thinking that right now, dude. I know you're not. Everybody, we truly believe everybody has God-given talents and experiences that they can use to start a membership site. We think there's 100 people out there that will pay you $50 a month and you'll make $60,000 a year. There's 7 billion people. You're going to find yours. You just got to start. What are you going to change? What are you going to sell in the next 24 hours that's going to make a difference in your online business, that's going to change your life and change your family's future? Okay? Just remember, you are infinitely more valuable than you think you are. You just have to go charge it, and you'll see it's going to happen. Okay? So flip your money mindset, and you'll probably flip your life. All right, I'm out. See you later.